Hi folks, welcome to Economic Observations. My name is Chris. Today is the 2nd of July, and thank you so much for watching. Today we're going to talk about real estate, the price of real estate, where it's booming, where it's going, eviction moratoriums ending, forbearances ending, a lot of stuff going on in that market. And the government is doing everything possible to keep it afloat. This video is sponsored by the Tanzania School Fdn again, a nonprofit near and dear to my heart. There are links below in ways you can help support and learn more. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to start with Canada. I guess Canada is seeing a flattening of the bid rent curve. So the bid rent curve generally means that rents in cities over time has always been more expensive because the amenities are there. People don't have to spend a lot of money and time to go to work. The movies, the theaters, the restaurants, the shops, everything is at their disposal. You have nightlife. You can grab your cup of coffee nearby. You don't need a car. And when they say time is money, people are generally willing to spend the extra amount of money to save time, if they have it. Historically, rent outside of the cities was always a little cheaper because people didn't have the money to live in the city, but they did have the time. So a lot of people were willing to sacrifice the time instead of the money. So they would live outside the city and they would commute. And commuting takes time, maybe upwards of an hour. So people would pay less rent to live further away from the city than they would in the city. Well, during the pandemic, they have seen the rise of rents outside the city to be astronomical, right? People wanted more space. They wanted a bigger apartment. They were working from home. They didn't need to commute, and they were moving out of the city, driving the rents of all those places outside the city sky high, where it was almost at an equilibrium. Who knows, maybe the work from home will continue and the rates in the suburb will continue to rise, outpacing those in the city. But based on an article today on CNBC, Manhattan real estate prices reach a buying frenzy. All right, the average apartment in Manhattan hit $999,000 in the second quarter, the highest on record. The average sale price in Manhattan rose 12% in the quarter, topping $1.9 million. The buying spree has led to fewer apartments on the market, and there is robust demand for pricey penthouses, which offer buyers more space and some private outdoor areas. There were 3,417 sales in the second quarter in Manhattan. It was a 150% gain from last year. It was the strongest second quarter since 2007. And bidding wars were at the highest pace in 2.5 years. So it looks like the cities in America are going to come back. Workers are getting prepared to go back into the office, especially in a lot of sectors. I know not only Manhattan, I live in Massachusetts, not far from Boston, and the price of Boston housing has gotten astronomical. Last week I did a video on suburban rents, and they are equally high, but the Boston rents are gaining momentum once again. And in Boston, we have all those colleges and university students coming in August and September. And I tell you, folks, the price of rent is astronomical. I don't know what it's like where you are, but Boston has never stopped building more residential apartments, and it is booming. Another story I wanted to touch base on was an article I read. It was regarding eviction moratoriums, and we know that the states are working really hard to avoid the evictions that are going to take place after the 31st of July. There are going to be no more extensions. So this guy in New Jersey rented a basement apartment. He paid $1,050. He was a chef. He lost his job in the pandemic. He was able to pay most of his rent initially when the federal government was given the $600 boost and then even the $400 boost or whatever it was. And he fell behind in January. I guess there was a time when the federal boost was removed for a little while, and anyway, he fell behind, and he applied for the rental assistance through the state of New Jersey. State of New Jersey is doing it by a lottery, apparently, and he got an email in early June saying that they chose his name, and all he had to do was get some information from his landlord and get his landlord to cooperate, and his $6,300 was going to be paid for. So he went really excited, went to talk to the landlord about it, and the landlord looked at him and said, "What did you do that for?" And she was like angry, and he said, "What are you talking about?" And she said, "It's an illegal apartment," meaning that it's not zoned for tenants, right? You're not supposed to have anybody living in there. And there are a lot of those. And it turns out that this money that's coming from the feds, they don't check with the local municipality to make sure if it's zoned or not. If there's a lease agreement or some kind of agreement, you get paid the money, the tenant is made whole, the landlord's made whole, and it just moves on. So the landlord did not agree to do this, but she can go ahead with the eviction, but she didn't want to go ahead with the rental assistance. And as it turns out that in New Jersey, a landlord, if caught renting an illegal apartment, the case would go to court, and the court would tell the tenant that he has X amount of days to leave the apartment. But the landlord also has 5 days to pay the tenant, get this, 5 months rent for relocating. All right, so the landlord's responsible. You rented this illegal apartment to this poor tenant. The tenant has nowhere to go. He has no money to do it. We're evicting him, and you, the landlord, are responsible for paying him 5 months of rent so he can land on his feet. And if the landlord doesn't pay, when the court orders it, the interest accrues at 18% for 30 days. And after 30 days, the municipality will pay the tenant the amount owed, and they will put a lien on the property so you can't sell it without the town getting paid. And that's what it's like in New Jersey. So landlords, beware of who you rent it to. Maybe you have to disclose that it's an illegal apartment. There can be all sorts of ramifications with insurance, a host of other things. So be careful who you rent to, if you disclose it, what the renters can do to you. Renters, if you are in an illegal apartment, make sure you agree that you know it's an illegal apartment. You know, maybe you're getting a reduction in rent. Maybe you're living with the rats or in a flooded basement. Who knows? But this is the stuff that's going on. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. These are some things, observations in the real estate market. I know that there are 1.7 million mortgages in some sort of forbearance. That too is going to expire at the end of the month. I don't know how long it's going to take for all the foreclosures to happen, but 1.7 million, the banks could be in a precarious situation. It's a wait and see. Maybe there'll be a lot of houses in the market. But I'm telling you right now, folks, not in Massachusetts. All right, have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Give this video a big thumbs up if you would. I appreciate you for watching. Thanks for making it to the end. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you real soon.